Because I've made it sound really rosy. I wish it was, but it's like, every day it's hard.
This is The Field Guide, practical marketing and leadership guidance for business owners. I'm your host, Peter Wilson of Biz Marketing. Each episode focuses on what actually works in the real world. Let's get started.
Welcome back to The Field Guide. Today my guest is Bryan Maletis. He is the founder of fatcork, and we're going to talk about what fatcork is. We are on location today. I think this is the first time we've done an on location. Bryan, welcome to the podcast.
I feel honored.
Thanks.
First on location visit.
Indeed.
Thank you.
We are at fatcork. I think we can see the name here.
Small underground cave in Lower Queen Anne, Champagne Cave.
Tell us what you do.
Real briefly, we import champagne from small producers in Champagne, France. We import them directly to this cave in Seattle, keeping it temperature controlled, and we sell it direct to consumer all across the country.
Direct to consumer. So you've got a tasting room here in Seattle.
Correct.
And then if I lived in South Carolina, we were just speaking about South Carolina, I could get bottles
order it through FedEx.
Got it. So that's amazing. And you are importing the bubbles directly to Seattle.
That's correct.
Got it. Okay. And something that is interesting about you only import French wine.
Yep, that's right. All we do is small production champagne from France, from the Champagne region in France.
Okay.
And we bypass we are the distributor, we are the importer, and we are the retailer. We, of course, have different business entities set up so the product flows through there legally. But the purpose of that is to control the quality of the champagne from the cave of the grower, producer, to our cave here in Seattle, and eventually to the customer in South Carolina using temperature-controlled, compostable packaging.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's start at the beginning here. You mentioned before we got online here that you've been doing this for 16 years. So let's talk about
16 years on my own, as my own business.
Okay.
Yeah, but 5 or 6 years before that in the champagne business with the large champagne house in New York City.
So let's talk about that.
The origin story goes way back before New York. Okay. Actually, growing up in Portland, Oregon, my family, my great-grandfather started a beer and wine distributorship.
Okay.
My grandfather and my grandmother, Chris and Cleo Maletis.
Okay.
So Chris and Cleo Maletis grew the business throughout the Portland, Beaverton area. My dad and his brothers took it over, and there was a lot there, and they split the biz, and my dad took part of it, and I worked growing up as a merchandiser, a delivery truck driver for a distributor, stocking the grocery store shelves, delivering to bars and restaurants, well before I was of legal drinking age, but I could drive and deliver the product.
And what product was that?
It was mostly Miller Coors product, beer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Waters and wine. And that's where, stocking the shelves of the grocery stores, I did not care about the beer. That was just stocking it. But the wine, and especially the Italian wine, where I could read the story of the grower on the back and the family. So as I was merchandising, I was getting a little bit of an education, especially into the Chiantis, right? Started drinking them, and then actually after college, I thought I was going to be in marketing. I got hired by Wyden and Kennedy.
Oh, wow!
As an intern, and I got a job for 1 month after the internship ended as what was it? It was like a media buyer, assistant media buyer on the Nike print account, Nike Print, and it was unbelievable. But that was in the year 2000, and they laid me off quickly after that. And I said, what am I going to do? I love wine, Italian wine. So I went to Italy and did a harvest in the year 2000 in the fall. And I harvested with a winemaking family, fell in love with wine, thought, oh my gosh, I love this product, but they couldn't pay me beyond the harvest. So I came back. Long story, came to Portland, back living with family, coaching water polo, working at REI, just doing odd jobs. but knowing I wanted to get into the Italian wine business, and a fellow by the name of Leonardo Locascio, an Italian out of New York that started Winebow, was doing a tasting in Seattle, which is where we are now. I drove up from Portland to Seattle, came to the tasting, introduced myself to Leonardo. He said, you need to wait around here. I've got 400 people here. But at the end of it, he took time with me. He looked at my resume and he said, you don't have the experience to work for me yet, but I like your passion. And I'm going to get you an interview at a retail wine shop in New York City. And if you can learn to sell the world of wine, then I'll entertain giving you a job. I went to New York City. It was amazing. Young 20s. Leonardo was good on his word. He gave me a job after that. I became a junior brand manager at Winebow.
Okay. Now who's Winebow?
Winebow started, Leonardo Locascio started Winebow. They are now have morphed differently, but they started off as an Italian wine importer and distributor in New York and New Jersey.
Got it. Okay.
When I worked for them, they were expanding, and they also distributed champagne. Well, one of them, Champagne Laurent Perrier.
Okay.
And so I worked on that account as a junior brand manager, and ended up getting into the world of bubbles. And they hired me, not Laurent Perrier, but Winebow hired me as a full-time brand manager.
Okay.
And I worked for 3 years in New York. I had an urge to come back to the Northwest, but thought Portland was too small. So I moved to Seattle. And that was 20 years ago, 1 years ago, and worked for a distributor here, and got into the world of small production champagne, grower champagne as we know it today, and really wanted to found my own business, and went to the University of Washington, their executive MBA program.
Yeah.
So I was able to work as a salesman in downtown Seattle, selling wine to the hotels and the restaurants downtown while also going to school.
Cool.
And then in 2009, I graduated from that, and I really used that education with those professors and classes to write the business plan for what has become fatcork. So upon graduation, I had a very supportive wife that had a great job, and we were able to start fatcork in 2010.
So startup. It was actually a startup. It wasn't, you didn't acquire somebody else's dream. It's your dream.
That's correct.
Wow. So at what point did you, I mean, it seems just like a natural progression there, right? It almost sounds like this was, like you had this idea all along.
Well, it was very serendipitous things that came to be. You know, the real, I mean, working in the wine shop in New York City, I had no exposure to bubbles before that. I liked Italian wine. I liked Chianti. But these little things where I would encourage people to buy this bottle of Prosecco and keep it in their refrigerator and open it for no special occasion, but instead open it to create a special occasion.
Nice.
And these same customers, these were retail customers, so they would come back into the shop and say, Bryan, thank you so much. My sister and I opened this bottle. And she said, why are we opening this? And I said, well, because you're here. And we had like a great, and so that really was the first occasion. Then the whole Winebow experience, they put me on the Laurent Perrier champagne account. I had developed this passion for bubbles, but then I got a front row seat to champagne, the business of champagne. Then I came out to Seattle. I didn't know about grower champagne. I thought I wanted a job as the national sales rep for Laurent Perrier.
Sure. Okay.
And then I found grower champagne, and I said, well, this is what it's
So let's
about.
talk about growers champagne.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, to start,
What is it?
90% of champagne production is made by 30 main houses, the Grand Marques, the big houses.
Yeah.
Those 30 main houses buy from 15,000 different growers.
Oh.
And they make master blends. So
Right.
most of the people that grow grapes in Champagne do not make champagne. And that's because, one, the price of grapes for great champagne grapes is second only to Burgundy. So they get really good prices for their grapes.
Yeah.
Second, it costs a lot of money to make champagne. First, you have to make great wine, which incorporates everything about making wine and the equipment, and then you have to invest the time and the money and the equipment to make great champagne. So it's a much more expensive process to make champagne.
Right.
Therefore, most of the growers are happy not to make their own.
So it's a lot easier just to sell your grapes. Or
10% of that, so that's 90% of the champagne is made by these big houses that buy from thousands of growers, and their value proposition is we do different blendings. We taste these different wines, and we're going to make the same wine every single year.
So every year you're not
every
getting
year
the
Veuve
vintage.
Clicquot tastes the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And people,
Which is why people like it.
that's a value
right?
proposition.
They know what they're going to get.
They also, the Grand Marques, if you have a flavor spectrum that's this big,
Yeah.
right? The Grand Marques do not want to hit the edges.
Right.
They want to appeal to this very narrow flavor margin that's accepted by the most people. So those are the Grand Marques. That's the value proposition they do. They can make wonderful champagne, and they have done more than anything. The name Champagne is the most recognizable name maybe in the world, beyond like
Really?
Coca-Cola or, right? If you say champagne anywhere in the world, people know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's got to be grapes that came from that region, obviously.
Yeah.
And-
But just, I know it's so long, but to get back to grower champagne,
yes.
that is the 10% of
I
production
see.
that is made by about 500 of those growers that actually make their own bubbles from the grapes that they grow.
Got it. Now, are they doing, I'm guessing maybe they're doing a portion of their grapes are going to the
Yep, that's correct. So
the Grand Marques and then.
very few of the growers that make their own champagne only make their own. So a way to say that is the growers that make their own champagne also sell a portion of their grapes
Right.
for the yearly income.
Yeah.
But they get, if their grapes come from this town of Verzy, they get paid a set price for the grapes in the town of Verzy.
Okay.
No one's telling them the grapes that come from the very center of the plot, right, or on the center of the hillside, the very prime grapes, that's what they
Perfect-
keep
yeah,
for themselves.
I see. Okay. Interesting.
And they go, growers farm usually a single plot of land from a single vintage, make it much drier. It speaks clearly, and we're talking about that flavor spectrum. They play on the edges all over the place, which
okay.
for me is much more interesting.
Got it.
And it drinks much more like wine.
So you're actually seeing a different flavor.
Yeah, we don't put it in flutes. We do not pour champagne into the flutes. Flutes are great because of the precipitation of bubbles.
Yeah.
They help that up, but it limits the aromatics when you have a small little
Right.
hole. So you want like bigger glass. Yes, the bubbles dissipate quicker, but you're really getting into the wine.
Got it. So we're talking growers, the grower champagne, and it's a niche, right?
Yeah.
So, how much of the champagne is made in the United States, and how are you finding, how are you growing that market here in the Seattle area and beyond? So tell me a little more about the appetite for grower champagne in the U.S.
Well, it's
or locally.
okay. So the appetite for grower champagne is certainly increased since we started the business in 2010. But there was a trend there, of course. And the trend, right, it started with craft beer and craft everything. You want to buy from a maker and feel special and hear the story about the maker and their family.
Yeah.
So I knew, it goes back to me reading the stories of the family in Chianti. So the appetite for grower champagne is certainly increasing. We don't subscribe to any data numbers, I don't know, but it's about 5% of the market in the U.S. champagne is grower champagne.
Okay, so it's a very tiny.
Versus worldwide, it's
Yeah.
about 10%. In the U.S., it's about 5% of our consumption is
Okay.
grower champagne.
Okay, got it. So why did you decide to narrow down and just do growers champagne?
Yeah, well, it's a passion of mine.
Okay.
I had the connections in
Yeah.
Champagne, and it allowed me, this was my thought, to become a recognized expert because it's a small niche. So I could become a nationally recognized expert in a small niche. But if
Yeah.
I was just a wine person,
Yeah.
there's 1,000 of us. There's 5,000 of us maybe.
Yeah.
Right? But if you are a champagne expert and all you do is grower champagne very, very well, those are the two pillars of our business, by the way. Since day one, quality, the best quality champagne in the world. That's what we bring in.
Yeah.
And the best customer service we can offer. Those are the two pillars. And if we just keep grinding on those two things, the other things have seemingly worked themselves out.
So let's talk about how you acquire the champagne. So do you?
It's not easy.
Just get on the phone and say, "Hey, this is Bryan from Seattle, and we want to buy 100 cases of your best blah blah blah."
Well, with established relationships, yes, that can happen.
Right.
But it takes a long time to establish those relationships.
So does that mean going on site, meeting the families, or do they?
Yeah, the origin is always in person, face to face, going to Champagne. It started in 2008 when I took my wife and we just knocked on doors. I mean, talk about like very nervous. Like, hey, this is us. This is Fat Cork. Would you like to entertain a tasting with us? And and the French were like, oh, Fat Cork. Well, no. I mean, don't you understand? This is very high quality stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I understand. But we try to make the best champagne in the world approachable to novices.
Right.
So hence the Fat Cork, the play with the name.
The name, the brand, the Fat Cork,
Yeah.
obviously. Who came up with the name?
Well, I paid a 20-some-year-old kid and gave him a bottle of champagne when I was at UW. He was a concierge at a hotel that I sold wine to, but he was starting his own marketing company. And he came up with his friends. They sat down with the bottle of champagne and came up with a list of probably 100 potential names. Yeah. And we kept dwindling the list down. We'd pass the list to this group of friends, this group of friends. We say, pick your top 5, pick your top 5. And Fat Cork was never number 1, but it made everybody's list.
Interesting.
And it always made people chuckle. And then we got down to, the top 3 or the top 5. I still have the list somewhere, handwritten list, of course. And Fat Cork, the URL was available.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, well, if the URL's available, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's great. That's excellent.
I've also got Skinny Cork, by the way.
So let's go back to these relationships. So you're knocking on doors. The French are somewhat skeptical, very skeptical, perhaps.
Yeah.
So what was your first? Who was the first person that said, "You know what? I like your idea. I like you. Let's give it a try"?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the salesman in me. So if sitting down in person, that's where you make the sale.
Yeah.
There were a lot of first people. I mean, out of the group that we visited, I think it was 8 or 10 growers that we signed up on that visit.
Wow.
So, and some of them are still with us today.
Had they ever worked with American?
No.
So
we went into the business searching exclusivity in the United States to be the only importer of record for these growers.
Got it.
I'm not as most of them still are exclusive, but I don't search for exclusivity. Mm-hmm. If one of the growers I found actually in Charleston, South Carolina, that I've worked with for the last 8 years, I found them in Charleston. They weren't in Seattle, and I was okay with that. Yeah, sell it on the East Coast. It's fine.
Got it. But generally speaking, you have these exclusive relationships, or have had exclusive relationships. So
for the most part.
So if I'm a connoisseur of grower champagne, probably gonna have to visit Bryan and Fat Cork and see what you got to offer.
Yeah, well, you should, or even if you're not a connoisseur.
Okay.
Right, we do a lot of education with our champagne, so that you even if you don't understand all the terminology that we're talking about on the back label, we provide you the resources so that you can be educated. And as you become educated, you get more interested, and then you want to share that knowledge with other people.
So very approachable. So I think what you have is a brand that's selling something that's very exclusive and considered a luxury item, right?
For sure.
But you've made it super approachable
Yeah.
as well. So I think you've really kind of threaded the needle there with
We're
your
trying.
brand.
Celebrate every day has been our mantra since day one.
I love
And
that.
that doesn't necessarily mean drinking champagne every day.
Sure.
But it means not waiting for a special occasion to open a bottle of champagne.
Nice. I like that. That's great. So with respect to the business, so you started 16 years ago, started in 2008 with this trip, and then what was the first step here? Was it opening a tasting room or just?
Yeah, you're
you
looking
coming
at
in?
it. We've been
Okay.
in here. This is underground,
Yeah.
so the champagne's all back there, even further underground,
Mm-hmm.
and it allows us to keep it temperature control, perfect humidity here in Seattle. So this was the first step,
Okay.
looking for a space to store it. And what became our retail room and our tasting room. This used to be our office. It used to be everything
Okay.
before we moved across the hall.
Yeah.
But yeah, we face north. We get the least amount of direct sunlight. This is not a space that most people want to be in for a retailer.
Okay.
But we've
Yeah,
made it into
true,
a champagne
true,
cave.
yeah. Who doesn't want to go somewhere for champagne? So.
Yeah.
So you've got the retail and you're importing, and then as I understand now, you ship all over and you have a subscription or a club or.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the genesis of that side of the business.
Yeah, I did not want. So fatcork.com is our online presence where we sell.
Yeah.
And out of our tasting room. That's all I wanted. I did not want to start a club. But my wife said, you have to start a club. And I said, well, I don't like clubs because I don't like Malbec, and they send me a Malbec in every shipment, or they charge me a different price for every shipment. And she said,
Yeah.
well, start a club that you would join yourself. So I said, well, if I'm going to join a club myself, I know I'm going to get the same price, and I want every shipment.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to customize and pick the bottles that are right for me.
Yeah.
And so that's the Champagne Club that we started. It's a quarterly allocation. We pick, you sign up for 4 bottles a quarter, 6 bottles a quarter, 12 bottles a quarter. We pick what we think is best for that allocation, the best bottles that I've selected.
Yeah.
But if you don't like rosé and I've put a rosé in there, you swap that out.
Okay.
Or
Great.
Blanc de Blanc. And
So how long have you been doing the club?
since 2011.
Wow. Okay, you've been doing it quite a while.
Yeah,
then.
it took us
So-
one year of non-club, and it's become 80% of our revenue. So that reoccurring revenue is allowing us to do predictive modeling for our buying, purchasing
Right.
decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So, so you have a club. It's this recurring business model, which I personally am a big fan of.
Yeah.
Recurring business models as running a marketing company. It makes it a lot more enjoyable when you have that relationship with a client over time. What are you finding with respect to growth of just overall marketing for the brand? Are you finding growth sort of organically, or what are you finding is working for you guys
Yeah.
for growing?
Well, word of mouth has always been number one. Since the day we started,
Yeah.
It started off with a group of our people, and it grew from there, word of mouth. As you know, word of mouth takes a long time, but it's also the stickiest.
Yeah.
So that continues to be how we drive business. Over the years, we've tried lots of different things. The buying AdWords for us, no go, does not work. SEO, we think it works. We've got the long tail of people that come through on different blog posts and such. I think that works a little bit. What definitely works, and what we started investing in last year a lot, was driving people to the tasting room.
Yeah.
The in-person experience. Because when we get people in here, we can tell them the story, we can taste them on the champagne. That has been the driver for us.
Yeah.
Just that in-person experience, and of course the way we've done that is with social media. I am reluctant to use social media personally,
Right.
and so I was reluctant to do it for the business, but I actually really enjoy it. I like putting myself out there. I'm an opinionated guy, so
Yeah.
we talk about fun opinions as it relates to champagne, and
Got it.
Yeah, and PR, old school PR,
Yeah.
right?
Well, one thing I know, my wife is a very big fan of fatcork. So, truth be told, she recently sent a gift to a friend of hers in California, who is not necessarily known for her champagne. I mean, she definitely likes wine, but
Yeah.
And she was just raving about it, and that gift to that friend definitely is creating this connection to your brand now. And she said one of the things she mentioned was that when she received the package, that just the presentation was really
I love
amazing.
to hear that.
So, and that really stuck with her. So, tell me a little bit about that merchandising, or what you do when you send those boxes.
Well, it's all very purposeful. I mean, we do not just put wine in a box and ship it out with nothing. Whether it is a personalized card that we hand write here. So if you send a gift and you type in a note, we will hand write that note. And then the way that note is presented and packaged and laid on top of the package with the description card for the champagne that you ordered.
Yeah.
So that person, of course, they don't recognize the label because this is a grower champagne.
Yeah.
This is a little niche thing. It's not Veuve Clicquot where you know it. Oh, this is a $75 bottle. It's Veuve Clicquot. No, this is a bottle of champagne. I know nothing about it. So here is a description card that tells me where it's from, the actual vineyard that it's from, what vintage it is, how much sugar or no sugar is in the bottle in the case of most of ours. A little bit about the family that grew it, their vineyard practices. So we try to give an education.
One thing I've noticed as well is that y'all use some QR codes, or you have some labeling on the bottles as well, so you're able to get more information. If you just happen to.
We own the back label for the growers, so the growers all have their own front label, which is beautiful. The PLO here, but the back label is what we own, and we ask the grower. So we tell our story on the back label. We have the geeky details on the back label. I don't know if that's what your question was.
Yeah, no, that is indeed. And I maybe I was wrong, but I thought I saw one.
Well,
with a
we're
QR
always
code.
changing. We have had QR codes.
Okay.
We always evolve.
So it's the back label that you're able to really give.
Market and tell our story and tell our brand.
Got it.
Yeah.
So as an aside, we're definitely going to have a little tasting, like I mentioned earlier. So we'll do that. But I do have another question for you. I understand that you're into golf as well. Maybe passionate about golf. Maybe as passionate or more passionate about golf than champagne. I don't know.
Well, champagne is a business. Golf is a passion.
There we go. Okay.
I do have passion for champagne.
Yeah.
But every time I drink champagne, I'm analyzing it. Every time I read about champagne, is this accurate? Can I use this in some way?
Okay.
When I read about golf, that's how I put myself to sleep at night. I just read about golf.
Okay. So tell me about the intersection of your brand and golf.
Well, Rory McIlroy has consumed our champagne. He has not paid for it, but he's consumed it. So that's exciting.
That's cool. Yeah.
Beyond that, the intersection really lies with how we found our operations manager, Sam. We advertised on a golf podcast.
Yeah.
And, why would a champagne company advertise on a golf podcast? It's because I listened to that golf podcast, and I know the guys were good at selling their ads.
Yeah.
But Sam listened to it, and we found Sam, and that's really been the best connection, is having a great manager come to us through the passion of the golf community.
Which is the reason I'm sitting here today, is we're friends of Sam.
That's right.
So, so you are on the golf podcasts from time to time? What's the name of that podcast?
The Fried Egg.
Fried Egg. Okay.
Yeah. Great podcast, and they do these video vlogs or whatever, and they have me on sometimes as a wine expert that also correlates it with golf.
Nice. Are you finding, have you had folks reach out as a result of that appearance?
Oh, yeah. We can always tell who the golfers are on when the new orders come in from a specific town that's very known for golf.
Oh, right.
Like there's a golfer.
Okay, got it. That's cool. I have a question I like to ask business owners, and when it's asked of myself, I always pause and think about the answer here. So go back 16 years. Bryan is talking to founder, talking to your wife 16 years ago. What advice would you give yourself from today, now knowing everything you know today, going back?
Every time I'm upset about something, I need to have my wife read the email first.
The email you receive or send?
That I send.
Okay. Okay. All right.
There is something about just every day there's a new fire, and you can get fiery in a response. And I am a passionate person, and so I've burned myself. But my wife, thankfully, I've learned, and she's there to save me. And she's like, "Let's rewrite this email."
Mm-hmm. That's good advice. What about what else? What else?
I mean, the business advice is just you got to grind on the gross margin, right? You cannot let that gross margin fluctuate because you want to drive this or that. Like really focusing on what is the engine of the business. The real engine is how much money do we make on one bottle that we sell, and just don't let that falter, because then you get yourself in trouble.
So you've got a lot of costs associated with your business. Now you are, I don't know the financial terms when you buy this from a grower. Are they just giving it to you and then hope you sell it, or you pay in cash?
Well, it's international financial terms,
right? So is it a
right?
letter of credit type of situation? Or?
It is dependent on the relationship for us. And so with the growers that we've been working with for a long time, I've never missed a payment, and they're willing to give me terms, and they're willing to extend terms even longer as I grow my business. With new growers, I've got to pay them up front.
Got it.
And that just kind of establishes the trust. And then maybe the third time I see them in person, I can ask for 90 days.
So have you run into situations where the growers actually have business struggles at all, or a bad year or things like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of course, there are growers that struggle. One thing I've learned in dealing with the French is that I don't burn the bridge with the French. If they are struggling, in terms of quality, and I don't compromise on quality. I don't fire them. I just slowly back away.
I see.
And then if they start making good quality again and I hear about it, I can approach them again. Mm-hmm. And everybody understands what's going on, but it allows me to save the grace to come back to them at a later day by not saying, I don't want to do business with you anymore.
Yeah. And word gets around about you and your reputation.
That's right.
With the French.
That's right. Yeah.
You're way over here in Seattle, and they're all together.
Together.
They know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. So interesting. So you've got the product you're buying, and then you are shipping it.
Yeah, importing it, temperature controlled on containers.
Okay.
And then shipping it via UPS and FedEx to customers across the country.
Now, how do you control the temperature?
We don't.
Okay.
We monitor weather windows.
I see.
And we have insulated compostable packaging.
Got it. So when it goes into the box, it's
cave temp.
Cave temp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
I started with customization.
Okay.
Went away from it as we grew, and then went back to it with automated customization. I used to do it all by hand. I used to look, here's Pete. He's my customer.
Yeah.
This is what I sent him before, and I would keep notes, and I'd say these are the wines that Pete likes. These are the wines that Pete doesn't like, and I'd have my inventory sheet right here, and I'd say, okay, in the next allocation, I'll give Pete this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And it was all by hand. And I had files of people. That's how customization started. We went away from that, and I started putting people into buckets, where I had 20 different buckets of like-minded people.
Yeah.
And that worked for a while. And then I wanted to do even more customization, and we invested in automation that allows us to put products in and people to choose on their own.
Nice. Nice. So you kind of come full circle.
Yeah, and then one of the things we do for our club allocations, we put together these newspapers, these quarterly newspapers, which of course have fun graphics, but then have some serious stories about, Instagram, the world's best champagne stopper, or an article all about a region in Champagne. So we're going to take you in depth on a particular region and how it relates to a bottle in your allocation. So a lot of different efforts and of course, newsletter, email marketing efforts to educate our club member as to what they're receiving in their allocation, why we've picked it, right? Adding value in the experience. I once just recently heard a club member describe us as a book club for champagne.
Yeah.
Where they love to get our champagne, they have our newspaper, they have the description card, and they have their group of friends come gather and learn about these different champagnes.
Well, the thing that I find that I really enjoy is the newspaper element of it. This physical manifestation. You could have sent out some email,
right?
But you're not, maybe you're going to look at it in your phone or your iPad or something, and it's just not going to be the same experience. I mean, look at this. I just love the colors you have here, the graphics. I don't know who did your graphics.
Yeah, we've got a great artist.
And
date that great.
Date that great. I mean, this is just fun.
So we try to have fun with
this
it.
This is fun.
Yeah, and that's all to make the club membership educational and an experience that you want to keep receiving.
So it's not just a quarterly bill on your Visa card, and you're just like, oh, why are because I've joined other clubs in the past where they don't do. I mean, it's just like come and get your wine.
Yeah.
Or that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe a tasting or something like that, but nothing to the extent that you guys are doing this. I mean, this is really
focusing on what the customer wants.
Yeah.
Asking the customer, what can we do better? Give me the dirty. I don't want the clean. I want the dirty. And give it to me anonymously, however you want to give it to me, but give it to me, and we make changes on that. And we make changes that are difficult operationally.
Okay.
Right? Customization we're having a quarter of our club members customized now, and that's only going up. It was probably more this time. So, completely changing our description cards because I wanted to go from a lengthy description of a cuvee to 3 words. I wanted to simplify it even more.
Yeah.
And it's like very hard to take 180 SKUs and change all of the description cards for them. But that's what the customer wanted.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. And not we have a lot of copycats out there. And I take that as a badge of honor.
Sure.
They're doing what we're doing. We are not going to focus on being better than them. We are going to focus on those 2 pillars, the best quality and the best customer service.
Yeah.
And keep those guys, we're aware, but really driving our values. And in the end, it seems like those guys are still back there, hopefully.
And you guys are continuing to grow and
hopefully
get bigger and
grow or die.
Grow or die. I think the growers say the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So what else? What are we missing? What's one thing if you were talking to a business owner who might have plateaued in their business? We have a lot of business owners that we talk to. They're probably on average 5 to 10 years into business. A lot of businesses that we talk to have they hit a plateau, right? They found success. They're sustainable. So they got over the hump, right?
Yeah.
That's the hardest part in any business
deal.
is getting over the hump and becoming sustainable. But now they want to, you have to grow because if you're not growing, you're dying, as you pointed out there. So what is one thing that you would say to them? I mean, you've given a lot of great examples here, but what's something you might tell or share?
I think ask your customers what they want and ask them for what I call the dirty. Ask them for the hard news. Tell me what I'm doing good, yes, but also tell me what I'm doing wrong and make the potentially difficult operational switch to deliver on that.
Got it.
And then publicize it, right? Once you make those changes, tell all the customers, I made these changes for you.
For you.
You told me to make these changes.
Right.
Sometimes I know the customers want the change. They don't actually tell me. I make the change, and then I tell them, we did this because you said to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just knew they wanted it.
Got it. Well, and as you pointed out, you're making the club that you want to be a part of and continue to be a member of.
Every allocation. Would I want to receive this allocation?
Right.
Would I want to read this material?
Right.
Does it represent fatcork? It drives my staff probably a little crazy.
Bryan, this fatcork sounds amazing. So, we've got a lot of listeners in the Seattle area. We've got listeners throughout the U.S. and maybe even beyond. How do they get in touch with you, or how do they find out more about fatcork and what you have to offer, and how do they sign up?
Yeah, well, fatcork.com if you're not in the Seattle area, or if you are in Seattle, come down to our cave, Lower Queen Anne. Just look it up on Google, fatcork, Fatcork. My email is Bryan, Bryan, the proper way to spell Bryan.
There we go.
At fatcork. I love talking to other business owners and people that have questions.
Okay, great. Excellent. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much, and this has been great.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Field Guide. If you have questions, topic ideas, or guest suggestions, we want to hear from you. Email us anytime, podcast@bizmarketing.com. You can find this episode and all past episodes on our website at bizmarketing.com. Just head to free resources to catch up or revisit anything you missed. And if you need help marketing your service business, whether that's getting more leads, improving follow-up, or fixing what's not working, you can schedule a free consultation with our team. Just go to bizmarketing.com and click the Let's Talk button. I'm Peter Wilson of Biz Marketing. Thanks for spending your time with us, and we'll see you next time on The Field Guide.